Right now, you've probably got a million things on your mind. But there's one incredibly complex job your body is handling for you without you lifting a finger or even thinking about it. That job is breathing. So let's take a minute to appreciate this automatic miracle that keeps us all going.
You're doing it right now. And there it is again. You'll do it maybe 25 times in the next minute. But have you ever really stopped and wondered what's going on under the hood? How does this amazing machinery make every single breath possible? Well, let's dive in and break it down.
So the whole story starts in our body's command center, the brain. It all runs on a system that works completely behind the scenes. Honestly, it's like a biological autopilot, and its only job is to keep the whole show running, 24/7. The trigger for every breath you take starts right here with something called the autonomic nervous system. Just think of it as your body's unconscious control center. It handles all the stuff you don't have to think about, your heartbeat, your digestion, and yep, breathing. It's the command hub that gets the entire respiratory machine moving.
Okay, so what's the mission here? What's this machine actually trying to do? It's really beautiful in its simplicity. It has two main jobs. First, deliver fresh oxygen to power every single cell in your body. And second, clear out all the carbon dioxide waste that your cells produce. It's a constant cycle. In with the good, out with the bad. It's what keeps you alive.
All right, so our autopilot just sent the signal. Now what? Let's see how that little electrical spark turns into the actual physical act of taking a breath.
And it all happens in this incredible, perfectly timed sequence. First, that signal from the brain arrives. Bam! Your diaphragm, that's the big muscle under your lungs, it contracts and flattens out. At the exact same time, the muscles between your ribs pull your rib cage up and out. All of this makes the space inside your chest way bigger, which creates a vacuum. Nature hates a vacuum, so air from the outside has no choice but to rush in and fill your lungs.
So once that air is inside, where does it go? Well, it comes in through your nose and mouth and travels down your windpipe, or trachea. Then the path splits into two main tubes called the bronchi, one for each lung. And from there, it's just like a tree branching out, splitting again and again into thousands and thousands of tiny little passages called bronchioles that reach deep into your lungs.
Now, a lot of us probably picture our lungs as these big, empty balloons, right? But that's not really how it is. They're actually these amazing spongy organs, just filled with this incredibly intricate network of tiny pathways.
Okay, we've followed the air all the way down. And now we're at the most critical moment in the entire process. After that long journey, the air we just inhaled is finally ready to do its job. This is where the real magic happens.
At the very, very end of every single one of those tiny bronchioles, there's a little air sac called an alveolus. And I'm not talking about a few. You have hundreds of millions of these in your lungs. This is it. This is the final destination for the air, and it's where the great gas exchange takes place. So let's set the scene for this exchange. On one side, inside these little air sacs, you have air that's packed with oxygen. On the other side, in the tiny blood vessels wrapped around them, you have blood that's low on oxygen but loaded with carbon dioxide waste from your body, a total imbalance. And that imbalance is the key to everything. See, nature is all about finding balance. So the gases just naturally want to move from an area where there's a lot of them to an area where there's not so much. It's a process called diffusion. And the best part, it takes zero effort from your body. And here it is in action. Oxygen molecules just hop across from the air sacs into your blood. And the moment they do, these little proteins in your red blood cells called hemoglobin snatch that oxygen right up. At the very same instant, the blood unloads its cargo of carbon dioxide, which moves over into the air sacs, ready to be kicked out.
All right, so we've got the good stuff, the oxygen, loaded up and ready to go. We've also dropped off the trash. So what's next? Time to complete the cycle and clear out the system.
Exhaling is basically the whole process, just hitting rewind. It's pretty much a relaxation phase. And once again, our autopilot, that autonomic nervous system, sends out a new signal to get the ball rolling.
So, unlike inhaling, which is an active process, exhaling is pretty chill. The brain's signal just tells those muscles to relax. The diaphragm goes back to its dome shape, the rib muscles relax, and your chest gets smaller. This gently squeezes your lungs, pushing all that carbon dioxide-rich air up and out, and just like that, you're ready to start the whole cycle over again.
So you see how this whole system is just
elegant, it's efficient, and it's all happening on its own. But what's really going to blow your mind is the sheer scale of it all, day in and day out.
Just think about this for a second. Your body does this whole complex dance between 15 and 25 times every single minute. And you never even have to think about it. That's thousands of breaths every hour.
But what happens when you add all that up over a whole day? Get this, your lungs process about 10,000 liters of air every single day. That is an incredible amount.
I mean, that's a staggering amount of work, right? But here's the best part. You don't have to sweat it. Your lungs, your brain, they've got this completely covered. It's just this incredible